Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new National Party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.
Seatbelts are not as confining as the wheelchair. Drive carefully. A message from the Traffic Department of the Royal Grenada Police Force.
Government and unions' wage talks stall in the face of unrealistic demands. We'll have details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Tuesday, October 8th, I am Rikisha St. Louis. Salary talks between the government negotiating team and the joint negotiating union team of Public Workers Union and the Technical and Allied Workers Union became stalled and deadlocked at the third session, which took place on Tuesday, October 8th, 2019. The unions are insisting on a near 25% increase in pay without providing a shred of written justification for their demands. Those demands would increase the government's expenditure on salaries by more than $90 million over the next 3-year contract cycle. The demand is highly unrealistic and far exceeds any such payment of salary increases locally and in the region, including lucrative businesses in banking and other areas of the private sector, with which TAU and other unions have signed. During the last contract cycle, workers received increases every year during 2017 to 2019, amounting to 10% compounded increase over the period. The union's current demand, amounting to 150% of the previous settlement, is unsustainable and unprecedented.
This morning, the government negotiating team met with the joint team of PW and TAU to continue the third round of negotiations. The meeting lasted for approximately 2 hours. However, there was no movement on the part of the union to the demand for $90.5 million over a 3-year period for the workers, which accounted to 25%. The request of 25% for 3 years at $90.5 million. The government offered $26.5 million. The negotiations was declared deadlock since there was no movement from the original position of the union. The next stage is that of the Labour Commissioner. The matter will be referred to the Labour Commissioner for mediation.
Head of the government negotiating team, Honorable Oliver Joseph. The union's demand for a near 25% increase in pay will overturn all the sacrifices made by the country to achieve fiscal stability and economic growth. Millions of dollars in grants and concessionary loans currently secured by Grenada would also be extinguished. Programs of house repair and training programs for youth and labor assistance to farmers would have to be cut, and this would also significantly reduce the assistance government provides to homes for the elderly, and any wage increase which would go to the workers there. Since June, the government negotiating team circulated to the unions its policy guidelines for salary increases, which emphasized that salary negotiations must be fact-based and within the fiscal responsibility law. In an earlier letter to the unions, the team warned that this unrealistic demand raises the question of good faith collective bargaining. It also counseled that one ought not to come to the table with demands which are financially impossible for an employer to meet. The negotiating team proposes an increase to public officers of $26.5 million as part of an overall package where the state has already made additions to the restoration of pensions to appointed qualifying public officers. On the issue of fringe benefits, which is yet another expense for the state, the negotiating team pointed out that the upcoming comprehensive job evaluation, carded to commence soon, would see further increases in the salary of public officers, in addition to the negotiated increases. Therefore, increases to and additional fringe benefits negotiations cannot be entertained before the job evaluation exercise. In effect, public officers will receive 3 streams of increases in 2020. Continuing with the news, Prime Minister Dr. the Right Honourable Keith Mitchell on Tuesday welcomed the new British Resident Commissioner, Wendy Freeman. British High Commissioner based in Barbados, Ms. Janet Douglas, introduced the new resident commissioner, giving assurances that the United Kingdom remained committed to its relationship with Grenada and other Caribbean countries. Dr. Mitchell, in welcoming Ms. Freeman and the re-establishment of a local office, said, and I quote, "It is good that we have a local representative. This is a positive sign for relations between Grenada and the UK, and I hope it continues to move in that positive direction," unquote. Graciously accepting the welcome, the British diplomat said, and I quote, "The creation of this position is part of the deepening and strengthening of the bond that already exists. I will do my part in identifying ways to take this relationship forward," unquote. During the introductory meeting, the Prime Minister underscored the importance of the long-standing relationship with the British, particularly in the areas of intelligence work and cybersecurity. He expressed the desire to see UK increase its level of involvement in the region. This is the National Report. We'll have more news after the break.
Grenada, it's coming as the Ministry of Youth, Development, Sports, Culture and the Arts brings to you National Youth Week 2019, and it's one full week of activities, vibes and action as the nation turns their attention on the nation's youth. And it's from Saturday, October 19 till Saturday, November 2nd under the theme Embracing Opportunities, Soaring Higher. October 19th and 20th, National Community Service Weekend, island-wide. October 26th, Health Walk and Ministers Address. October 27th, Ecumenical Service and Peace Concerts. October 28th, Youth Vibe. October 29th, St. John's Youth Parliament. October 30th, Job Fair and Career Day. October 31st, Fun Nights. November 1st, Discovering Talents and Expo. And on November 2nd, it's National Youth Awards. So urging everyone to be a part of Youth Week 2019, October 19th to November 2nd.
Welcome back. Plans are underway to recognize Grenada's second World Athletic Champion, Anderson Peters. The island is still in celebratory mood following Sunday's gold-winning performance in the men's javelin at the IAAF World Athletics Championship in Doha. Sports Minister Senator Norland Cox announced on Tuesday during the government's weekly post-cabinet briefing that plans are in the pipeline for Anderson's return in December.
The cabinet took a decision, and because of the significance of this victory, that we are going to have some celebration for Anderson when he comes home in Grenada early December. We believe that within the first 2 weeks in December sometime he will be coming home, and so we are planning a grand welcome ceremony, and we invite the nation to join us, and so more developments regarding this celebration will be forthcoming, but we want to give notice in that regard.
There are concerns that government can do more to reward the athlete. However, according to Minister Cox, while Grenada may want to go all out to recognize Peters, the rules of the National Collegiate Athletic Association prevents any country from providing tangible support to athletes.
The challenge that we have, or the issue that is before us, we cannot, the government of Grenada is not in any way positioned to provide any tangible support to Anderson at this time, because he's in school and a part of the NCAA rules and regulations. He ought not to be receiving any tangible benefits for performances in games like this. And so he is well aware of that and the importance of him retaining his scholarship and successfully concluding next year, I think that will be very good news for us, and he's working hard towards that.
Finally, in the news, the Grenada Tourism Authority has launched a regional campaign designed to ensure that Grenada remains a recognized tourist destination. The campaign, titled Something for Everyone, also included the launch of a promotional video by the same name and plans for the Festival of Lights 2019. Something for Everyone consists of 5 focal points. Marketing Executive Shani St. Bernard spoke of the intention of the campaign.
Something for Everyone will focus on our top 5 niches in Grenada, which is romance, culinary, soft adventure, leisure, and sailing experiences. So this campaign would highlight each one of those niches, and we're going to have video and everything like that to help promote it. And of course, getting to Grenada is much easier and convenient these days through our regional airlift partners, Caribbean Airlines as well as Liat. And we're also happy to announce that the GTA is going to be bringing down a Caribbean fam consisting of Trinidadians and Barbadians later on this month to help experience something for everyone in Grenada.
Festival of the Lights is scheduled to be on December 5th and 6th. The event includes lights on the waters of the Carriacou from Bunt Point.
The concept would be on the first night, which is on the 6th, we will have a dinghy concert. In the water, we have engaged the yachts. We are hoping that they also would light up. We have had meetings with the business community here. We want them to light up. It's going to be solar lights that will last for a very long time. We feel that it is necessary as we try to promote the Carriacou. We all have heard about the Carriacou and how it's so beautiful. We want to bring life back to the Carriacou.
That was Chairman of the Grenada Tourism Authority, Brenda Hood. That story just brought the curtains down on the national report for today, Tuesday, October 8th. Let's recap the top story. Government and the unions' wage talks stall in the face of unrealistic demands. On behalf of the entire news team here at the Government Information Service, I am Rakisha St. Louis saying thank you for joining us. Until next time.
But you live in fear, and so you remain a prisoner in your own prison. Take a look carefully. There's a young man gambling now. His salary, take a listen, you will hear.
Good morning to you, Grenada, Carriacou, and Martinique. Once again, it is time for Hard Talk. My name is Sheldon Scott, taking you up until the 12 o'clock hour, now 39 minutes after the hour of 10 o'clock on the Spice Isle of Grenada. We'd like to say a special good morning to all of you joining us via the various radio stations, listening via terrestrial radio today. So those of you listening via 97.5, hey, Gary, yeah, it was good hearing you on air this morning, man. Yeah, man, it's been a long time. Gary, Mr. Smooth.
And now we're just screaming.
Yeah, keep it flowing, man. So the staff out there at 97.5 CitysoundFM, a special glorious Grenadian good morning to each and every one of you. Django, morning. Saying a very special good morning to you as well, Campesh, up there at 89.5 CRFM. The staff out there in Carriacou, Petit Martinique, 92.9 Sister Isles FM. And of course, We Noise Radio. And those of you in the We Noise chat room right now, Lady Fran Captain. You have the keys to lose the chain. Kathy Zingo, Burby's Muscles. Good morning to each and every one of you out there. Mr. Watts, good morning to you and the family. Patricia and Matthew out there in Canada, good morning. Know you're heading out in a short while. And my good friend Ian out there in Canada as well. Devon Romain, the people say it's time to reach back in studio. Eh? Nice, right.
Behind prison walls, but in the
So good morning to you, bro, and good morning to Brents. Good morning to you, Sonia and Beverly, all of you. My good friends out there in Carriacou at Paddy's Enterprise, good morning to each and every one of you.
Hustle and steal to get a little smoke. Then is caught and sent for prison time. At the end commits the same old crime. All those Tony with the same story. You have a right, a responsibility. Your life,
yeah, we don't have to wait until it's carnival time to play our local music, yeah?
This time, you make that change.
I don't even have to play the song Play More Local because the song Play More Local is not a local song.
You tell yourself, well, they have you so back to prison you have to go. You are prisoner in your own prison.
Yep, indeed.
Take the girls.
So, folks, we have coming up on the 27th of October the convention of the new National Party. It's going to be taking place at the MacDonald College. Looking forward to seeing all you delegates and observers there. So, of course, again, the morning session will be the closed session where you discuss the different aspects of the party, organizationally and so on. And you'll also have the election of officers of the party. And we're speaking everything here from political leader down to floor members, yeah. So that's going to be taking place on the 27th of October at the MacDonald College. So looking forward to seeing some of you who are there in the north of the island and from around the island in general. There are those of you from Carriacou and Petit Martinique as well.
And a hard place in this modern time. God gave us a gift. We brain and we cranium. Still he gave us a mind. Think about positive endeavors to make we life rise up. But some people that are low, thinking so low, they brain living in the dust. Because they would see it on the name of a brother with malice intention, when instead they could be uplifting a sister for life progression.
As a reminder to those of you in Telescope, remember the fogging team, they're going to be around your area today, particularly those of you down in the quarry. So they're going to be there today and tomorrow. So you're looking forward for the folks on the Ministry of Health. They'll be in your area today and tomorrow. Been some complaints about the mosquitoes in your area. So they'll be there today and tomorrow. Alright, that's Mr. Kenny James and his team. They'll be down there. So remember, you need to open up the house when they come with the fogging agents. Yeah, you can't lock up the house when they come on the fogging. You have to open it out. If you've got folks that are there that have various respiratory ailments, you have asthma, or they may be suffering from a bout of bronchitis or a chest infection or so, it's better that you remove them from the area for the period that the fogging is taking place. Yesterday it ought to have taken place in Grenville Town and the environs.
Now all you should know, your mind is the center of your universe. A bad thing to waste. Yes, man. In all different sizes, and in your head it was placed to uplift and elevate those around me with tremendous grace. Positive is always the way to go. I want to please stay away from this, because I say, oh my, will God save? Illiteracy, simple mind, talk about places that they could never be. Ordinary mind, speak about events and personalities, but wouldn't mind speak about ideas, and great mind speaks philosophy.
Good morning to all of you on the live this morning. Yes, another rainy day on the Isle of Spice. Louise, good morning.
And love to
And Louisa, good morning. Kathleen, Carol. Yeah, all of you on the live this morning, remember to like and share the live. Like and share the live, yeah? So you can like it and then you share it. Nice? Yeah.
This song to let them know.
I'm saying a very, very, I want to, let me see, no, he not listening yet. He giving real trouble this morning, boy. Whoa, yeah.
Does not have a clue.
Have a little boy there. Yeah, he giving real trouble this morning.
Hopelessness.
You know, if it's one day, he can't get licks today, you know.
You really don't know.
I believe in licks too anyhow.
To uplift your standard. Man only waste.
Most times.
I know the reason for that, my friends. Ordinary mind.
Yeah, so we await to hear the latest outcome in relation to the salary negotiations between the government of Grenada and the Public Workers Trade Unions. Not the Public Worker Trade Union, the Public Workers Trade Union. Just adding that S there is a different team. Because then you're talking about TAU, talking about the Police Staff Association and the Prison Association, Workers Association, and you're talking about the nurses, and you're talking about TAU, and you're talking about the Grenada Manual and Mental Intellectual Workers Union, I think. Yeah, I think we have a few workers under government somewhere. And then you have the Bank and General Workers Union. Yeah, so you're talking about all of them, huh?
Without hesitation, that is why I'm working so hard, my friends, for Calypso unification. If artists use their mind, there would be more focus, knowledge and understanding. And in order for us to make progress, we have to stop bickering, making fuss over what really doesn't matter. Intelligent men must think, but you could bring a horse to the water hole, but you can't force the horse to drink. So I say.
So as it is right now, the talks, they have been referred to it's been referred now to the Labour Commissioner, because it seems as though government is at one point and the trade unions are at one point. So it's sent to the Labour Commissioner for conciliation at this point, right? So the trade unions or government, they both could send in new proposals now. If the unions decide that, okay, let me try and bring it down a little bit, they can do that at this stage. If the government decides we might be able to go up a little bit, they can do that at this stage. All right? So they're at conciliation right now. If they don't have anything taking place like that, like the unions decide we're not moving and government decide we're not moving, then it will have to go to the Minister of Labour. And at that stage, again, you can have both parties sending in proposals for consideration by the minister. But if across the board from each other they can't come to agreement, they go to the Labour Commissioner. And if they can't get it done properly through the Labour Commissioner, then it has to go to the Minister of Labour. So there are different stages to what is taking place right now.
Illiteracy, simple mind, talk about places.
Cynthia, good morning to you.
Never be ordinary mind, talk about events and personalities, but wouldn't mind speak about ideas, and great mind speaks philosophy. The mind is such a spiritual force, will make you do what's right. And for sure, my friends, you are in control, so there's no reason to fight. I know you heard this before. Life is how you make it, so be honorable.
And you see, also, a decision has to be made in relation to this issue. There's a deadline on this, because the decision has to be made before the budget is prepared. You cannot, after you've prepared the budget, decide all of a sudden that you're going to add a 10 million, or you're going to add a 15 million, or you're going to add a 20 million to the budget for next year. You're going to throw everything out kelter. Yeah, it's going to become helter-skelter. You can't just throw that in there. And outside of that, there's also the possibility of breaching the legislation that's there, the fiscal responsibility legislation, which is why government is saying to the unions that let us come to an agreement by the end of this month. So there's a deadline at the end of October, because by the end of October, you put your budget together and then the budget is going to be read a few weeks later. Yeah? Either at the end of November or early in December, so you will have the budget being read. Then it goes through the lower house and then the upper house and so on. Then it is signed into law by the Governor General. Yeah? And payments can begin. So the government is simply saying, listen, let us wrap this up. And it is not a situation that they just started on this thing. This is the third round of negotiations. The proposal by the unions was put forward since about June or July, several months ago. And the government at that time told them that, look, you have to relook those figures because those figures are unsustainable. Yeah? Again, I must make this point each time I come on and I'm speaking about this particular issue. No one is saying that public servants don't deserve it. No one is saying that. No one is saying that to our police officers who are out there, or nurses, or people working in the Ministry of Agriculture right now, or the Ministry of Works, or wherever. No one is saying, or even the same Ministry of Finance, no one is saying that they don't deserve it. What is being said is that it is unsustainable. Yes, you might be able to make the payment for 1-2 months. But after that, what happens? You run out of money and then you can't continue, much less making the increased payments. You can't make payments at all. Yeah? And even if you are forced into a situation that you must make those payments, it's going to affect other areas. So while you're giving on one end, it will affect other areas. So you will have a situation where areas like the housing assistance program is going to suffer. You will have areas like the other programs which assist the vulnerable and those people that really need assistance. It's going to affect those. It's going to affect some of the youth employment programs, like the HOPE program, the Imani program, and some of those other programs that engage young people, including the programs at the prison and the youth rehabilitation programs. It's going to affect those. So it is a situation that money will have to be taken out of those programs, and in some instances, you will have to reduce the number of participants in those programs or close certain programs totally. That is the situation that you face if that demand is to be met. So government is simply saying, look, we want to continue with these programs, assisting the young people, assisting the elderly, assisting people who want to start small businesses through the Grenada Development Bank or through the Ministry of Agriculture with their programs providing irrigation and that sort of thing. The money has to come from somewhere to provide irrigation systems and so to farmers, especially looking down the barrel of the dry season that we expect. Yeah? We expect a serious dry season. So looking down that, you have to provide sprinklers and irrigation, also plants and so on to people who are interested in farming and who are into farming. You also have other areas, the infrastructural areas that need repair. And we're talking everything from the street lights to the streets. We're talking about the bridges, the road. That when you drive your car and you go down in a pothole, you start to cuss. It has to be fixed, but the monies have to come from somewhere. And if all the money goes into one particular area, if all the money is focused into one particular area, which is salaries and pensions, then it reduces the amount of money that's available for other areas. And that's just clearly what government is saying. That's government's position. Because you are mounting now to some 150% of what was the previous settlement. Yeah? So you don't want to get into that situation now, because outside of this, remember, we're also speaking that the unions, the members of the unions, they already have to get their increments. The increments is, they have to get their increments. Increments are separate from salary increases. They must get increments. And then the process of evaluation is about to start. And you may very well find a worker who was working for $2,500 that the recommendation is made to raise that worker's salary to $300, to 3,000. You may find people who are working for 3,000 that the recommendation is their salary goes to 3,500. And that's outside of increments and the salary increases that are being negotiated now. These are other increases to the salaries that workers receive right now. And again, no one is saying that they don't deserve it. No one is saying that they don't deserve it. But is it sustainable? Are you going to be able to pay this month? It's like you start a small business and you give yourself a massive salary. So you start a small bakery, yeah? A little place with a couple of stove and thing. You start a little bakery out of your home or something, and you're doing bread and that kind of thing. And you give yourself a salary of $5,000 a month. That's your salary. And then you want to know why the business busts after a short while. You have to give yourself the salary that you can survive on. The salary that is absolutely necessary. Because at the end of the day, the bakery is yours. You're not going to be benefiting from any monies that come in. But in some business plans, you see some people do business plans and they give themselves a massive salary. They say, I want $5,000 a month. I say, boss, I say, manager. Yeah, you're the boss, you're the manager, but you're also the owner. You're also the owner. So when you do that, what you're doing is you're actually damaging the business. And it's the same thing here. If you end up in a situation that they have to get a raise. No one is disputing the fact that public workers have to get a raise. What is being discussed here is the quantum of the raise that public workers should get. And I still am yet to hear, because if in June, July, you've been having this discussion already, and you met with the government negotiating team, and you said, these are our proposals of what we want to see. Government says to you, that can't work. Could you go back and crunch your figures again, recalculate, and see if you can come with a different figure? And you come back with the exact same figure from a few months ago. That's the figure that you've come back with now. And government says to you, but we told you before that that figure is unworkable. Because if we do that, then we lose millions upon millions of dollars in grant funding, which is money that we don't have to pay back. Because of our economic performance, we're getting grant funding from various institutions and countries. But not only will we lose that grant funding, and that grant funding is the funding that may come into your village to help start the village cooperative that are always talking about to the ladies doing the pepper sauce and that sort of thing. Or the ladies that decide that they're coming together and they're going to sew school uniforms for the whole parish. They decide, well, okay, we're going to start a sewing cooperative and we're going to make the uniforms. We're done with this thing. We're having to run in town and buy a shirt and a pants for children. A bunch of us are going to come together and we're going to sew the uniforms. We're going to provide employment for ourselves and provide a service to the country. So that when somebody like Huggins or Hubbards or Andals or so on needs some uniforms, they could approach them and say, well, okay, we're giving you a contract to do X amount of uniforms for us. Here are the measurements. And so on. Have the persons coming for their fitting and so on and do that. You could have those businesses starting up. And some of the monies to start initiatives like that come through grant funding. Countries like India or maybe even the US and other countries, large countries, Germany and so on, they can give grant funding to help with programs like that. But the grant funding is based on your economic performance. If you're keeping within your targets. And what has worked well for Grenada is the fact that we have that Fiscal Responsibility Act in place. And that Fiscal Responsibility Act means that whether it's the new National Party government or 100 years from now, another government, once that law is in place, it restricts the government from wanton spending. That you can't just go on a spending spree. You can't say election coming up, let me try and do this and do that and do the other and all kind of thing and spend a pile of money and do all kind of craziness. It restricts you because after election there is still a country and the country has to run. The people have to survive and the economy must be manageable. Instead of like the economy you received in 2013 when you come in and think that was a kind of economy. It was we could have managed it, yeah, but why did we couldn't manage it? So this is the situation as obtains right now in relation to the issue at hand of the salary negotiations. It is before the Labour Commissioner right now for conciliation, So the Labour Commissioner will speak to both sides and see if either side is willing to move a bit. So he'll look now and say, okay, let's see if the government is willing to go up a little bit. He will look over at the unions and say, let's see if they're willing to go down a bit and see if he could bring them to a margin close enough that both sides feel, okay, we're going to take that. So that is what is happening right now. If when you're sitting across the table you can't come to an agreement, it's deadlocked. That means you have to move to the next stage, which it has moved to now, the Labour Commissioner. And if still, after the Labour Commissioner part, it cannot move forward, then you're going to go to the Minister of Labour. Yeah? And no one is saying that the workers are undeserving of the 10% increases they received between 2017 and 2019. They're more than deserving of the 10% increase they received there. Many of us in the private sector did not receive those sort of increases. But nobody is jealous, nobody is upset. Well, at least I'm not jealous. But nobody is upset that public workers received a 10% increase because, see, there's this narrative that certain political operatives are trying to push out there. That who wicked and who don't want to give. It's not a matter of don't want to give. You could give, but it's what happens on the back end. Yeah, you could give it. Everybody happy and jolly and all kind of thing. First month, second month, third month, fourth month, maybe even 6 months you might be able to get away with it. Then by the 7th month, 42nd of the month, no salary. 48th of the month, no salary. 49th of the month, no salary. Because there just will not be any money there. Yeah? So you will understand partially what is taking place. I hope that explains it a lot better for many of you that are out there that are wondering what is taking place with this issue. Yeah? Let me play a little song now for the busmen and them out there. One of them busmen see me the other day saying, playing me song for us. So let me get in a little touch of that and we'll be right back. It's now 2 minutes after the hour of 11.
Ask for a free ride, she start to cuss. She say, help, I'm no stupid. You always rode me old bus free already. Now I see you come back again. You take this riding thing as a bloody vein. You were riding this new...
My argument continues to be as well that I'm interested in seeing the economic data that the unions have used to come to this position. Yeah, I'm very interested in seeing that data. We have a call online.
Hi, pleasant good morning to you.
Morning, how are you?
I'm good.
All right.
Listen now, what I want to say might have a little thing to do with the negotiations. However, here's what my issue is. I have a young woman a young lady I know, right? That she went to high school, she got her subjects and so on. She's always been interested in teaching. Mm-hmm. She went to a school, and the principal of the school looked at her what you call it?
Your CV.
Qualifications and whatnot. Right. And the principal said to her that she has good qualifications and, I guess with chatting, it must be realized she really wants to be a teacher. But he ended up saying to her that the government is only employing Imanis now. Mm. And I'm thinking to myself, how could he say something like that? Is this really true? And if it's really true, I think that is very unfair. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, I know of another employment where an individual has been working in that place, as I understand it, for over 3 years. But the government is still paying that Imani portion. And to my mind, this is unfair to the government. I mean, we have to take it how it comes. What is right is right.
Let me get this one clear.
Wrong is wrong.
Let me get this one clear again. They're working where? Well, you don't have to say this specific place, but they're
working in a certain place.
Yeah.
And apparently it's over 3 years now.
Mm-hmm.
But government is still paying that person an Imani portion, if you understand what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
So the employer is not paying them as a full-time employee.
Mm-hmm.
The employer is still paying half, and the government paying half. And to my mind, that's unfair to the government.
Well, what I would say in cases like that, usually it's a case that the person is doing a CVQ. And if they've completed, because I know of several who are in daycares and so in a situation like that. Now, they may complete CVQ level 1 and 2. They're going to CVQ level 4, 5, and so. So they're trying to complete their CVQ training. It may take 2 years, it may take 3 or 4. So according to how long it takes for them to complete the CVQ, the government will continue to pay their portion within the place of employment. But that's for persons. No, but that's specifically for persons who are doing their CVQ training.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, fine. You see how good it is to get explanations.
No, that's why we must talk about things.
And because I thought to myself, no.
No, and you're fair with that.
You know, that's unfair. But the other case now, it's the opposite case. And I find, no, this doesn't sound right. I mean, I didn't tell the young lady that because I don't want to, put, negatives in her mind and thing. But I'm thinking to myself, you could tell a child who is qualified, a young person who is qualified, you're only employing the money. That gives people the impression that, to me, 2 impressions. One, you want to just treat the Imanis as anybody, just give them something. They get something in their hand, like a pocket change or what. I'm not saying that is what it is, but that is what we can, you know us as human beings. We always look at the negative side.
Because negative news travels faster in Grenada than anything else. I'm pretty sure. Look, Grenada has won a gold medal at the World Championships. I am absolutely positive you will not see Anderson Peters on the front of every one of the newspapers. You may see, let me give Informer the benefit of the doubt. I believe you might see it on Informer. You may see it on the Grenadian Voice. But generally, by the end of the week, it's like people forget Anderson already, you know.
I know how
it's such a positive thing. If
but
it was something negative.
You're making on that teacher thing?
Yes.
That doesn't sound right at all. And
of course
it's very unfair.
And but it's not only doesn't sound right, it's untrue. Because if you look at the record of the New National Party between 2013 and now, the New National Party, number 1, we came back into office. Right now you have 60 police officers training. They're not Imani. 60 police officers, recruits that are down at the SSU training right now to be full-fledged police officers. They're going to be brought into the public service, but under the Ministry of National Security as police officers. You have prison officers that were taken in a couple years ago. You have about 3 other groups of police officers that were taken into the system. You have the nurses who were sitting at home, who were taken into the system, first on a contract basis, and then brought fully into the system. These are people that were trained, qualified nurses, write their local exam, and they were sitting at home. They've been brought fully into the system. Right? You have 1 or 2 that are still on contract, but that's being worked on. You also have a situation where you have the teachers. The last group of teachers that went, you had 101 people that were made full teachers, and these were people that were on the contract. Every September they had to wonder if they're going back into a school and teach and that kind of thing. And it's much more than 101. I can't remember the exact figure off the top of my head.
Right.
But and you had groups of teachers that been brought into the service.
Your point, I get your point. And I'm not trying to be negative, right?
I know that. I know your point. You're just making sure that
On the other hand, I was listening to a program, I think it was on GBN. And I think it was the goodly opposition. But oh God, I probably shouldn't even say that because I might be wrong. But they were saying that a lot of the schools have insufficient teachers. You understand? And so all of these things, you hear these things, you wonder, are they true? Thank God I'm not the kind of person who just pick up everything I hear and run with it. I am, well, you know, I'm sorry for that. You know, so I'm thinking, okay, if you have not insufficient teachers in schools, why is that so? Because even if it means taking Imanis who are interested in teachers, fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you get the gist of what I'm saying.
Yes, no, I understand perfectly. You see, the thing is this, what we've had, and a lot of people try to put these boogeymen out there, but what we've had is a situation, you have Imanis that have been coming in as assistants, not necessarily as full teacher, but teaching assistants, and in some cases, they've been transferring from that. I know of a few that they've got into full-time teaching through the Imani program. They're now full-time teachers. You have some that are in teachers' college and that sort of thing that started off as Imani trainees.
Right.
So it's a program that people are gradually moving from into the full public service.
Okay. So here's something now. No, I don't have my radio on 24 hours a day on any particular program.
Mm-hmm.
I was hearing again, I don't think it was on a news program, but I think I was hearing that there is a better chance now of a person becoming a teacher if they go to the teacher is that what they call it, teacher induction course at Carriacou.
That has always been the case. I did the teacher induction course myself in 1996.
So do you suggest that's a good thing for that person to be involved in, that individual that I'm talking to?
Yes, I do believe so. I believe anyone that is interested in becoming a teacher, especially after they finished at TAMCC or so, should do the teacher induction
course. Because I know at one time
course.
you became a teacher in the government schools, and then if you wanted to stay on in the system, you had to, it was a requirement to go to teachers training college.
Yes.
So I got the impression that it's slightly different now. You go to the program and then you know.
I would need to get some clarity on exactly what the system is now, because I don't want to say something and it turns out not to be true. What I know is back in my days, and I'm talking about the 1990s here, 1996, I did the teacher induction course with Mr. Marsh and Mr. Vivek and so on. I did the teacher induction course way back then. And from that, at that time, you could have just gone to a school. A school could have requested, okay, I need an English teacher or I need a physics teacher.
Yes.
And you had your A-levels and your O-levels and you could have gone and taught there. The problem was back in those days when you start like that, you had to wait 2 months for your salary. Yeah, I mean that.
There was some kind, yes.
Yeah, no. When you get to work in the public service before, that was, in fact, that kept a lot of people out from going into things like that. I want to go into banks and so on instead, because here it is. You had to spend the first 2 months. You had to bomb ride. If you're lucky to have parents, you had to ask them for money. You had to try all kind of thing to get to work as a teacher for the first 2 months, and hopefully, by the third month you receive your salary. It had people that longer than that they didn't get a salary. That was the situation. Needless to say, that situation has improved significantly now. The persons who go to teachers' college, I do believe they receive an increase. When they go back to the classroom, they receive an increase because they now have that degree.
Okay.
Yeah, so I will try to get some more information on exactly, because I said I don't want to say something that is not true.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. Because to be honest with you, that young person grew up with me. And every wall in my house had chalk on it. Eventually, I assigned them one door. I said, this is where you're right. Because I didn't want to, to tell them, oh, don't mark on the wall and, this kind of a thing. So, and I knew that this is where her passion is. So I was really disappointed. I'm not saying that she did everything right. But, I was really disappointed with an answer like that.
Let me ask, sometimes, I mean, according to the individuals you meet, we are all humans, so according to the individual you meet, they might get an answer like that. Did she apply, though, to the Ministry of Education directly?
She sent out many applications to the Ministry of Education.
Did she follow up on those applications?
That I'm not too sure of.
That's always important. You see, I have this bad habit of, if I write somebody, even if I email somebody or I may WhatsApp somebody or I may send a physical letter, I always think it's important after a period of time to follow up with a phone call. Yeah, did you receive especially if I haven't gotten a response, did you receive my communication? Yeah, is there anything else I need to send? And you try to follow up with a phone call, especially when it comes to the job market. We have a lot of young people that send out applications and they don't follow up.
They don't follow.
Yeah.
So let me ask you one final question. What is the proper way to send out an application? Do you send it to the Ministry of Education and the school, or do you send it to the school?
No.
Where does it? What is the general rule?
That again, I am not clear on. But here's what. I know how to find you. And I'm going to get that information when I get off air, or if somebody sends it to me while I'm on air. And I will get that information to you. Because I believe it's the Chief Education Officer, but I don't want to be...
I know.
Yeah.
Yes.
It could, because the next thing it could be the Permanent Secretary. Yeah, so let me confirm what is the proper procedure. And then I can get the proper procedure, not only to you, but I can have it said on air. So that others who are sitting at home right now, because you may have somebody with 9 subjects there right now, 4 A-levels, and they may want to go and teach. And that might be the passion. I want to go and teach, I want to go and teach.
And I can tell you that child that's a passion from ever since I knew her.
So we need to get that. But it's also good if when the teacher induction course comes around, that they can do that. That is helpful.
So how do you get into that teacher induction course?
Back in my days, I remember you got to the Ministry of Education. They announced when the teacher induction course was coming up and you applied. I still have my certificate for it, in fact.
So it's not something that's done in TAMCC?
Well, I think it's done there now.
Okay.
Yeah. Back in my days, was it done there? Yeah, back in my days, it was done there too. So it's a teacher induction course for, at my time, was 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks I think we did.
Already?
Yeah.
I thought it was a term, a year, 2 years.
No. Was a 2 weeks. Was a short course. Just teacher induction. It's to introduce you basically into how to teach. Yeah. And then from that you can build and so. So I'll get that information to you. I know how to find you, and I will get that information to you by 1 o'clock.
All right.
I'll make a call. Yeah.
Okay then. Okay.
All right. No problem.
Right. Thanks.
Bye bye.
Right. Bye. Blessed be.
4407377. Yeah, if I don't know, me, I ain't going and say that is where you do. All right, nice. Yeah, I'm going to make sure and get that information. And I know somebody who listening going to send that information for me. All right. Let me say a special good morning to you, Javon. And happy birthday from Daddy. All right. Nice. I was waiting for you to come on. I know you come on just now. I hope you fall asleep there. Nice. Yeah, Javon, wake up. Nice. Happy birthday, boy. Nice. Yeah, folks. Yes, Sonia, it's always important to do follow-up. I've seen many young persons. I've helped scores upon scores of young people to do their application letters and their CVs and these things to send out. And I always tell them, when they send it out, don't just drop it and forget it. Because a lot of them, they go out and you might hear, are going in town and drop out some application day. And they go out in town, they spend the entire day doing just that, They ain't lie. They go and they drop out sometime 10, sometime 15, 20 applications. They're just dropping out applications all over. And they find they ain't got a call. Because sometimes they ain't call back to find out if they might. Sometimes, suppose they drop it off and it never gets to the person it should get to. So the officer that deals with staff, they never get that letter. I've seen situations where people dropped in applications to certain places and the secretary take it and throw it in the dustbin. I kid you not. I've seen those situations with my own eyes. I've seen situations where people dropped in applications applying for a job, and 3 months later it was found in the secretary desk or in the inbox on the desk because I don't like that person. I ain't feel I want to work with Sheena. I ain't feel I want to work with he. So they just throw it in the dustbin as soon as you turn your back, in the dustbin. If you don't call to follow up with the relevant person, then yes, I see it with my own mouth, Anna. If you don't call to follow up with the relevant persons, it can end up being a problem. So you should call after you dropped off an application. You should call and follow up. Yeah, it's always good to do that. Get the name of the person that you should call. Yeah? Whether it's Mr. This or Miss That or Mrs. That. or Dr. so-and-so or Professor whatever. Get their name and call them after you've dropped off those applications. Because I see it all the time. I've printed loads of applications for some people and you ask them afterwards, you say, well, you still didn't get through to anything? Say, no, I drop out all them things and I didn't hear from them people. Did you call them? No, I'm waiting on them to call me. Then there's the other problem that we even encountered when we were starting over the Imani program. That some people, they put their number and if they see a strange number calling them, they ain't answering. My goodness. You sent out applications, so you're looking for a job. You see a strange number or a blocked number calling you and you just refuse to answer. And it's the opportunity that is calling. Opportunity is calling you right now. They're dialing you. And you just refuse to answer your phone because you see a blocked number. You're seeing a number and you don't know that number, so you're just not answering. And the problem with that is because some of these folks being unemployed, sometimes they owe somebody a little money. That is why they're looking for a job. And so because they're unemployed, they owe people a money. And they don't want to answer the phone because they're afraid it's somebody that they owe that trying to call them on a blocked number or from a strange number. So they want to answer. Some other people just have a habit of not answering numbers that they don't know. Yeah? So these things do happen. And all of them affect a person's ability to find a job. Some folks, they lose their phone. And when they lose their phone, they change their number. And they don't inform the people that they've applied for a job with that they've changed their number. Again, I saw that with the Imani program when we had applications from people. That there were the staff trying to find individuals. Trying to get them into the Imani program. And they couldn't get them. Because these folks lost their numbers and didn't inform the office that, hey, my name is so-and-so. I have changed numbers. This is my new number. So the staff were unable to find them. So if you sent out applications and your number has changed, because they have some people, I know others do that, the number change every 2 weeks. So they lose phone, so they change number. Yeah? The number I'm using right now I've had since 2004. Yeah. Hurricane Ivan. Same. So you have to inform those people when you're applying, right? That's just for some of you that may be out there right now. But folks, again, let me just make sure I clear the lines. The phone number is 440-7377 and 347-329-3101. Those are the two numbers that you can call to get on to the inside of today's program. And folks, at the end of the day, we all have to be playing for the same team. We all have to be playing for the very same team. So again, I'm very interested, and I'll continue to call on for that, yeah? I would really like the unions to come forward and say, and I'm not just saying from one individual, because I know the one individual they look to use. I see who they have talking on their behalf, so I know who is the one individual they'll attempt to use. I am saying to the unions, put forward the economics behind what you are requesting. Nowhere in the Caribbean. Nowhere in the Caribbean. How much million people we are in the Caribbean? From Jamaica down to Guyana and Suriname. Because we just say Suriname in the Caribbean sometime too. Nowhere have any trade unions made this sort of request. Nowhere. So you have to ask yourself, what is the impetus behind this request. Because you have your increments to get. You have your job appraisals taking place. That's going to increase your salary. But yet still you're making what the government continues to say to you on an economic level is an unreasonable demand for 25% salary increase. Well, nearly 25% salary increase over the next few years. Yeah? I believe, in my heart of hearts, that there are people within the trade union leadership that honestly have the workers at heart and have the interests of Grenada at heart. I honestly believe that there are people within the trade union leadership that have that. But I also believe that there are people within there that may have selfish agendas and are not looking at the larger picture, which is Grenada, which the same workers that they represent have to live in after. It's the children of those workers that are in the Imani program that are going to get sent home. And imagine if you end up in a situation where the worker is sent home and then you have to cut the Imani program and the workers' children are sent home at the same time. So mother home, father home, child home. Yeah? That you have to reduce the number of them in the HOPE program and these other programs. And definitely, you're looking at the probability. You will be looking at the probability of, yes, I'm just making sure that I mute this. You are looking at the probability now also of major reduction in staff. Because as I said yesterday, if you've got 10 people to pay $10, it's cheaper to pay 5 people $10 in it if you could get the amount of work done. Or it's cheaper to pay 8 people $10 than to pay 10 people $10. It's cheaper, and you might be able to get the 8 people, each of them to fill in a little bit, to close the gap and get the work that the 10 people had to do. You're getting that done. And who are the first ones going to go? The unestablished staff. The thousands of people that work within the government service but are not on the established payroll. They are on the unestablished staff. Those are the first ones. Look at what happened in Barbados. Look at what happened in Trinidad. You saw situations in Barbados where in the first round, the mother was sent home. The first round of retrenchment. And the second round, the father was sent home. You saw situations, in fact, there were 1 or 2 situations in the first round where both the father and mother went home from different ministries. They were working with the government of Barbados, and they were sent home. We don't want to go into that situation. We do not want to go in that situation. We have to be playing for the same team. We all must be playing for Team Grenada. At the end of the day going to come when I had to give up the ghost. Every one of you listening right now, nobody ain't going to live forever. Grenada going to be still here after we gone. The same way all the people who was living in the year 1850, they are no longer here. The same way, in time to come, none of us who are here right now will be here. What are we leaving behind? Are we leaving a sustainable economy? Are we leaving a sustainable system in place? We have to consider that. So that's why I continue to say we all must be playing for the same team.
So me find it strange, but I never change. My philosophy endures, always country first. So I will climb over the highest wall when my country call. Hail, hail, Grenada, I gave myself to thee. Yes, man, that's why I'm playing. I always playing. Good God, I'm playing for Team Grenada.
We have a call online. Good morning.
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 Morning, brother Sheldon. How are you going?
Papa, I don't know when last I hear you, man. Tobago in the house.
Just that in and that out.
How are things going?
What's up, brother Devon?
Well, man, believe me, I have not spoken to him for a couple of days. And that is bad. I need to call my boy.
Yeah.
But my head kind of been hotter because I'm working on something.
As a soldier, Devon supposed to move villages and
But I'm sure he's listening, man. I hope.
You say the alma mater? Supposed to be more stronger than that.
But
I'm called to find out now. You have some people going around, like in Carriacou, with some development thing 2035.
Uh-huh.
You have a list of the name of these people, eh?
I don't have the list here, and I am not clear on exactly what you're specifically talking about. Okay. I know there's the 2035 development plan. Yeah. So it could be, I am not saying that is the case, I do not know. It could be a group of individuals that are out there gathering information for that. Because I'll tell you why, The 2035 plan is so important because it's the strategy for how you move Grenada forward from where we are right now to where we need to be by the year 2035 on an economic, social, industrial, educational, agricultural, cultural, all of these different fronts. Yeah. Carriacou, to those of you that don't know, Carriacou is a different place from Grenada,
Yeah, I was up there recently.
Yeah. What the people of Carriacou may want and what they may need will be totally different to what the people of Grandance, for instance, will want and need. Yeah? So you have to gather information from different areas, and even Carriacou is different to Petit Martinique. Yeah. The society is slightly different, the needs are different.
Mm-hmm. The reason why I'm asking the names of the people who are going around doing it is because I saw something happen the last time when they had a referendum. You had people who was going around telling people about the referendum, and they was telling people not to vote in favor of the referendum. They was on podium. You understand what I'm saying? They don't like Grenada, and they was going around telling people these things. So that's why I was asking you, who are the names of the people that are going around educating people on it? I would like to know them. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you have some people that are very, you have a lot of things I have to say, but it's just a matter I have to go and meet a client in a while. That's the reason why I can't really explain. Because they're waiting on me right now on the outside day. But what I'm trying to say, Brother Sheldon, you have a lot of things taking place in Grenada that people do as if it's your friend and they undermine it. They might come with that news and give you something and feel, well, that is facts. But they want you to spread it. You have things I know I won't call the program and say that. I would never call the program and say that because, they want it to go out. Like the other day, yesterday I was chatting with a guy, and I realized the guy chatting with his own self. Because he posts up something, right? Somebody chat on it. So instead I chat to the person who posts it up, I chat to the person who reply. If you understand what I'm saying. He knowing as the same person who posts it up answering me. So I realized, is that what going on? They just putting up things online and they're talking to themselves. If you understand what I'm saying. Yeah. So there's a lot of things taking place in Grenada, a lot of development, but we need to push what the agenda, the things that are happening, the positive thing, because remember the teachers and them, they want money. You understand? Down here is the same thing, they want money. But when they look at how they do it in Grenada in terms of down here, they say, that can't work. You understand what I'm trying to tell you?
Yeah.
Because down here, sometimes they get 5%. They ask for 15 and they get 5. If you understand what I'm saying, based on the state of the economy, and they just feel Grenada money because grant money can't go for that.
No, you cannot touch grant money the day you do that.
Can't go for that.
The day you do that,
Grenada get $10 million they grant, but that grant money can't go for that. It's a specific. You have to show your record how that money is spent, and the people have to come and look at it. You understand what I'm saying? So, Brother Sheldon,
my brother,
I want to say happy birthday to your son. I have a daughter born on the 26th of October. Our real people. I went in a birthday party Saturday night. Real big session, birthday party and retirement. Real nice thing over here.
Beautiful man.
A lot of people born in October. Real thing taking place down here at that time,
Yes.
Yeah, so.
All right, my brother.
I'm not really calling, but most of the time I listen.
Okay, great.
But I want to say hi to Martin because I look at why I'm calling here and Vina. I know the money I'm calling them now, but I'm busy these days. Things happening over here, like things ain't happening.
Yeah, man.
But I touch on in a time in there. You know me already had a touch in and touch out.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll call sometime, maybe next week so.
Okay. Blessings to you, brother.
To share.
All right.
All right.
Yes, indeed. 440-7377 and 347-329-3101. Those are the numbers for you to call and get on to the inside of today's program. And yes, there are people that do exactly what the caller was just speaking about. Exactly what he just spoke about there. They want you to bring a piece of information and spread it for them. So they take an element of truth and they come out with that and they go and they say it to you. And then you take it and you go and you ask one or two people and so on, and they take it and they ask one or two people and they take it and they ask some more people. And bit by bit, that fake news is spreading. Yeah? That's how a lot of them get the stuff out, you know. Or there are those that have 3 and 4 accounts. I don't know what a person has, Sheldon Scott, and that is it. But there are those that have 3 and 4 accounts. They don't know their ways to know. But they have 3 and 4 accounts on Facebook, speaking to themselves, making a post and then answering the post from another profile. That is them as well. That's what they're doing, to try and give the impression that there are people that actually believe in what they're saying and that kind of thing. Those are some of the things they're doing. Yeah? Those are some of the things that these guys are doing to try and put certain types of information out there. But again, and I think you, the general public, need to also try and find out from the union. Say, okay, you, the general public, are the ones that are going to pay. You want to know the economic backing because you might very well be supporting the unions or you might be supporting the government. So you might be supporting the government's position or the union's position. Remember, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, remember that the same workers that are the union are the same workers that are the government boss as well. Yeah, don't get it twisted. You, the public worker, it's the two set of people that you employ that negotiating right now for your benefit. Are you looking for the short-term benefit of a 1 or 2 months where you might get that, and then after that you have to lose your job, or your child had to lose their job, or something that some relative that you now have to find the money to go and help? Yeah, you for yourself have to find the money to go and help them now, that they could have been helped through a government program. That government program no longer exists. You, the public worker, are the boss of the trade union. You pay the union dues. You are also the boss of the government. You pay taxes. You pay the salary. So you are the boss of both of the people that are negotiating on your behalf right now. And you need to hear, you've heard from the government on an economic point of order, also in law, to ensure that we have economic order, that you cannot go to the 20. No country, I would like them to name one country in the Caribbean where public workers got a 25% increase. In fact, I don't even think I ever heard a demand like that anywhere in the Caribbean. Not in the Bahamas, British Virgin Islands, U.S. Virgin Islands, not in Jamaica, not in St. Kitts and Nevis, Dominica, St. Lucia, Montserrat, Anguilla, Antigua, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, Barbados, even the French. I've never heard, and I tend to read a lot of regional news, of any request by a union for 25%. I've never heard it. So it's either that somebody or bodies purposely looking to end up in a situation that we are in right now, and hopefully that situation can be resolved. I'm not saying it's political. I'm not saying it's political yet. Maybe I need to get some more information on that. I'm not saying it's political yet. But I would like to see, from an economic standpoint, taking into consideration things like inflation, taking into consideration the state of the Grenadian economy, the projections for 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023. Looking at the projections for those years, if the economy continues to go in the direction it's going, the coming on stream of various projects, capital projects, etc. here on the island of Grenada, taking into consideration private sector projects, major private sector projects that are underway, that are due to be completed, and other private sector projects that are due to start in short order. I would like to see, taking all those things into consideration, from an economic standpoint, how the union arrive at 25%. And I have a right to that information. And every member of the union has a right to that information. And every member of the general public has a right to that information as well. Because the salary increases are going to be paid by all of us. Everybody tut mun bagay. All right? So I'm very interested in hearing that. Yeah? Not the emotional response about, and I'm fed up of hearing that one, about we made sacrifices. Everybody made sacrifices. Everybody on the island made sacrifices. So the emotional response about we made sacrifices so we deserve it, you deserve it. But everybody made sacrifices. Yeah? That's not an argument. I want to hear the economic part of it. That's what I want to hear. We have a call on the line. Good morning.
Good morning, Senator Scott.
Hey, morning. How are you doing, sir?
Hi there, Blue. I've been listening to you there. Something I would like you to explain to me, because I know when I was growing up as a young man, when the union going to negotiate, if they start at 25%, but they aim at, let me say, 13 or 14%, but they start one way, the government start one way, and then the both sides keep narrowing, and they narrowing the gap, and they reach, to a point. But what I noticed with this union, that they keep on this 25% well, I don't know how to call it. And they will not move from that. Someone had to explain that to the union. That's not the way you negotiate.
Mm-hmm.
You must start at a high point, the government start at a low point, and then you guys, close the gap. And then you come to an agreement. That's what I know. And that's what I know as a kid growing up, listening to union leaders and union in Grenada, because I go through a lot with union. And I could tell you, you start at one point and you want to end up in the middle. And the government starts at another point, but both of you end up in the middle, and then we show an agreement. That's what I know and how union operate. But in Grenada, it's different. The union say 25%, and if you don't give us the money, what we going to do? I don't want to reach to the stage that we had to get on the street, Sheldon, because there's no Dr. Mitchell. We're going to just call an election, let the people decide. So I hope we're careful. Be very careful with what we're doing. Have a good one.
All right. Thank you very much. Yes, indeed. 440737 and 34. Oh boy, let me. No computer. Don't do that now. Not now. You cannot do that to me now. All right? Nice. Good. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let me just make sure I get this here. Yeah. You do not negotiate that way. The caller is absolutely right. That's not the way that you negotiate. Yeah? So you start at such a high position and then are inflexible, because this is not something that the government is only finding out this week. This proposal was sent in months ago, and the government said to them, listen, that is too high. Crunch your numbers, come back to us with a different figure. That figure, that proposal is too high. You come back in October, when you know the financial year of government ends at the end of October, when they usually close off accounts and so on because they're doing the budget for Grenada. And therefore, they cannot put a budget in place and have not completed the negotiations in relation to the increases, because the increases have to be reflected in the budget for the year 2020. Yeah? It's like you running a business. And when you're running your business, you budget for the entire year next year that for one member of staff you're going to pay them $60,000 for the entire year. In other words, in total, their salary for the entire year of 2020 is going to be $60,000. And then, after you've already put that into the budget and so on, and you've organized your finances in a way that you'll be able to pay them every month, that's $60,000, they take it to court, and you end up in a situation where you have to pay them double that amount. But might be 2 workers that you had, so somebody got to go, or your business end up closed. But you for yourself have to understand that at the end of October, government will be finalizing the budget. And if you're finalizing the budget at the end of the year, it means, at the end of October, it means therefore that you must have an agreement by the end of this month. But as I say, we all have to be playing for the same team.
And while they play their part, showcasing their skills, ignoring the dangers of the minds on the playing field. But when it comes down to the local game, they won't do the same. Hail, hail, Grenada, I give myself to thee. Yes, man, that's why I'm playing. I always playing. Good God, I'm playing for Team Grenada. Yes, man, I always playing. I keep on playing. Good God, I'm playing for Team Grenada. And that's a fact. Playing for Grenada. Oh, mama, hoy. Oh, mama, hoy.
Hello?
We have a caller. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Sheldon. How are you? Good man is here.
Hey, Green Man.
Everything is good?
For the time being, bro.
Listen now, I have a little thing here.
Mm-hmm.
In my belief, this 25% what the union calling for. And that amount of money have come up to 90-something million. I have a belief the reduction from the teachers' money, I think they put big job in that, you know. So if the government pay them now, the teacher who reduct from salary, they'll get the money.
But this is a separate issue to that. This is a separate issue because that issue of the salary deduction is before the courts right now. So the courts will decide whether government was right, whether government was wrong. The courts will decide that.
Exactly.
That's still a separate issue to this, you know.
But yeah, but the too high, 25% across the board for 3 years.
Well, I would like them to say, and I prefer to hear.
I'll listen to you, so later.
I prefer to hear from a few respected economic advisors in relation to this particular issue, and I would like to hear their reasoning behind coming up to 25%, because maybe I'm just not seeing it. It can be a case that maybe I am just not seeing it. So I'm asking them to help me see it. Help me understand how they got to that figure. Yeah, I understand how the government came to their figure. They explained that. I've heard from the government how they came up with their figure. But I'd like them, the unions, to explain to me how they came up with their figure and why they believe that $90 million is sustainable. Yeah? Because outside of this, okay, let's go down the road. Increment payments. That's an increase from whatever they're getting now. That's an increase that they're going to get onto the salaries. You also have the salary, the job evaluation. There are going to be salary increases attached to that at the end of that process, right? You'll have the salary increases that are being discussed now will also. So that's 3 different set of increases that the public workers are due to receive. What is being discussed now is the volume of the final one. That's the wage negotiation taking place for the year 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023. So there's a discussion now taking place in relation to what quantum of increase they're going to receive there. But outside of that, there's still another discussion because you also have its salaries and pensions. And government now is regularizing and bringing into the system many people who were before left out of receiving a pension on behalf of government, which they are going to have to top up through the NIS. They have to pay a little something to the NIS to get people up to the level of pension that they ought to be receiving as far as the government is concerned. So that, again, is an additional payment that the government has to deal with. And they've already started the process of regularizing. I'm not sure if they've started paying, but I know they've started regularizing for people who have been within the public service for an X period of time so that they can receive payments. So that as well is another something. So are we saying, together with all of these other things, that the third payment that we've been speaking about could be as much as 90 million? Maybe. I am not seeing it. As I say, maybe I'm not seeing it. So they need to explain to the Grenadian people. And it cannot be a simply emotional response. It cannot be just the response that, look, we deserve that. Everybody agree we deserve it. But can it be sustained? We work for that. Nobody's disputing that. We all know you work for it. Can it be sustained? Or are we going to put the economy of Grenada back into the negative, back into the doldrums again, and into the negative? So you have to be careful. Yeah, we have to be careful. 440-7377, that's 440-7377. That's the number for you to call locally. I mean, the figures are way different. While what the union is proposing is going to cost $90 million, what the government negotiating team is proposing is going to cost $26.5 million.
Though he may set his mind on a date, yes.
And both payments, either if it's 90 or if it's 26, have to be looked in the context of increased increment payments, job evaluation increases, as well as pensions, and when that particular issue is completed as well, some significant gratuity payments, yeah? Whether at the level that government is saying or whether at the level that the unions are saying, whenever that gratuity issue comes out, you're going to be talking about a lot of millions of dollars as well.
The world today in disarray, and salvation is what we need. Our Messiah will come one day. In the good book it is decreed. Sooner or later.
And we have a caller online. Good morning. Hello.
Hey, good morning, Mr. Scott.
Hey, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing extremely well.
Yeah, people asking for you, man.
well, yes, and you're not hearing me as regular as before because my assignment has changed. So
yeah, I realize that.
But don't worry. Now, Mr. Scott, we in the Northwest constituency in St. Andrews, we will be having our election next Tuesday, the 15th, at the Carriacou Government School to elect our constituency executive. So all up-to-date members who is hearing that announcement, please take note. Despite the fact contact will be made with you all in terms of how, transportation will be provided to get you all there. Now, Mr. Scott, listen to this. Election will not... let me deal with the teachers first. Well, the negotiation, what is presently taking place. Mr. Scott, I agree that, we have to meet the negotiating people halfway, the teachers and others. But they have to understand the context in which the government is speaking. And the point is that it's very simple. We cannot burn down the forest just for a few trees. It's that simple. And what the government has been saying is that, listen, yes, you have to get something. You deserve something. But we cannot give you what you're asking for at the expense of all those that made the same sacrifice like you. And I believe that is easy for a lot of us to understand. But now listen to this quick point I'm making as a wrap. Mr. Scott, election will not be won at 93.3, 105, 89.5, 97.5 at the Carriacou station. It will be won on the ground in the trenches, which is what we're doing now, gathering the relevant data and information. And Mr. Scott, that is my focus. That's why in the Northwest constituency in St. Andrews, we just declare victory before the polls are closed. All my focus right now, sir, is to ensure we stay in constant contact with the people in the Northwest constituency, by letting them know what the government is doing, letting them know what is available to them. And Mr. Scott, once any constituency in this country, once we continue to do what we are doing in the Northwest constituency in St. Andrews, then we know that we are doing the work that is necessary that will guarantee our victory. So all the talk and all the hearsay and all the propaganda, Mr. Scott, it doesn't affect us because we are in constant contact with our people and we are delivering based on what we promise. Sir, I trust you will have a pleasant day.
Thank you very much, my brother. Wonderful hearing from you. Yes, indeed, folks. Yeah, I was asking for him. You hear him? Yeah, Kathleen, I know you wanted to hear him. Yeah, you've got him now. 4407377. We have roughly about 2 minutes or so remaining, 2-3 minutes remaining.
The holy book of Revelation constantly speaks about time to come. Every day, global situations keep on swinging like a pendulum. One day soon we'll have to account for all this wickedness and crime. Even though the pressure's going to mount, it just cannot.
Yeah, I saw a release where someone was saying that the negotiations are not deadlocked. There are trade union schools in the region that probably somebody needs to go to. Yeah, because if you have reached an immovable position from both ends, and you're saying that you are not willing to budge from that point, and the other side is saying we cannot budge from that point. If you have gotten to the point where both sides are unwilling to move from the position that they are, it is deadlocked. That's what it's called. It's deadlocked. All right? Nice, yeah.
It's the same enigma that plagues humanity. So the crystal ball
folks, that's about it for us for today. Yep, that's about all the time we have for Hard Talk. It's been wonderful being here with you. Yeah, you know me. Going and check G-Phone, yeah. In whatever you say and do it safe and secure. I want to be speaking to and with you and not about you. Love each and every one of you. Yeah, nice. Love you. I'm out of here, and whatever you say and do it safe and secure. Nice, right? Yeah.
Government and unions wage talks stall in the face of unrealistic demands. We'll have details to this story and more in the national report. With the details to the news for Tuesday, October 8th, I am Rikisha St. Louis. Salary talks between the government negotiating team and the joint negotiating union team of Public Workers Union and the Technical and Allied Workers Union became stalled and deadlocked at the third session, which took place on Tuesday, October 8, 2019. The unions are insisting on a near 25% increase in pay without providing a shred of written justification for their demands. Those demands would increase the government's expenditure on salaries by more than $90 million over the next 3-year contract cycle. The demand is highly unrealistic and far exceeds any such payment of salary increases locally and in the region, including lucrative businesses in banking and other areas of the private sector, with which TAU and other unions have signed. During the last contract cycle, workers received increases every year during 2017 to 2019, amounting to 10% compounded increase over the period. The union's current demand, amounting to 150% of the previous settlement, is unsustainable and unprecedented.
This morning, the government negotiating team met with the joint team of PW and TAU to continue the third rounds of negotiations. The meeting lasted for approximately 2 hours. However, there was no movement on the part of the union to the demand for $90.5 million over a 3-year period for the workers, which accounted to 25%. The request of 25% for 3 years at $90.5 million. The government offered $26.5 million. The negotiations was declared deadlock since there was no movement from the original position of the union. The next stage is that of the Labour Commissioner. The matter will be referred to the Labour Commissioner for mediation.
Head of the government negotiating team, Honorable Oliver Joseph. The union's demand for a near 25% increase in pay will overturn all the sacrifices made by the country to achieve fiscal stability and economic growth. Millions of dollars in grants and concessionary loans currently secured by Grenada would also be extinguished. Programs of house repair and training programs for youth and labor assistance to farmers would have to be cut, and this would also significantly reduce the assistance government provides to homes for the elderly and any wage increase which would go to the workers there. Since June, the government negotiating team circulated to the unions its policy guidelines for salary increases, which emphasized that salary negotiations must be fact-based and within the fiscal responsibility law. In an earlier letter to the unions, the team warned that this unrealistic demand raises the question of good faith collective bargaining. It also counseled that one ought not to come to the table with demands which are financially impossible for an employer to meet. The negotiating team proposes an increase to public officers of $26.5 million as part of an overall package where the state has already made additions to the restoration of pensions to appointed qualifying public officers. On the issue of fringe benefits, which is yet another expense for the state, the negotiating team pointed out that the upcoming comprehensive job evaluation, carded to commence soon, would see further increases in the salary of public officers, in addition to the negotiated increases. Therefore, increases to and additional fringe benefits negotiations cannot be entertained before the job evaluation exercise. In effect, public officers will receive 3 streams of increases in 2020. Continuing with the news, Prime Minister Dr. the Right Honourable Keith Mitchell on Tuesday welcomed the new British Resident Commissioner, Wendy Freeman. British High Commissioner based in Barbados, Ms. Janet Douglas, introduced the new resident commissioner, giving assurances that the United Kingdom remained committed to its relationship with Grenada and other Caribbean countries. Dr. Mitchell, in welcoming Ms. Freeman and the re-establishment of a local office, said, and I quote, "It is good that we have a local representative. This is a positive sign for relations between Grenada and the UK, and I hope it continues to move in that positive direction, unquote. Graciously accepting the welcome, the British diplomat said, and I quote, "The creation of this position is part of the deepening and strengthening of the bond that already exists. I will do my part in identifying ways to take this relationship forward," unquote. During the introductory meeting, the Prime Minister underscored the importance of the long-standing relationship with the British, particularly in the areas of intelligence work and cybersecurity. He expressed the desire to see UK increase its level of involvement in the region. This is the National Report. We'll have more news after the break.
Grenada, it's coming as the Ministry of Youth, Development, Sports, Culture and the Arts brings to you National Youth Week 2019 and it's one full week of activities, vibes and action as the nation turns their attention on the nation's youth, and it's from Saturday, October 19 till Saturday, November 2nd under the theme Embracing Opportunities, Sowing Higher. October 19th and 20th, National Community Service Weekend, island-wide. October 26th, Health Walk and Ministers Address. October 27th, Ecumenical Service and Peace Concerts. October 28th, Youth Vibe. October 29th, St. John's Youth Parliament. October 30th, Job Fair and Career Day. October 31st, Fun Nights. November 1st, Discovering Talents and Expo. And on November 2nd, it's National Youth Awards. So urging everyone to be a part of Youth Week 2019, October 19th to November 2nd.
Welcome back. Plans are underway to recognize Grenada's second World Athletic Champion, Anderson Peters. The island is still in celebratory mood following Sunday's gold-winning performance in the men's javelin at the IAAF World Athletics Championship in Doha. Sports Minister Senator Nolan Cox announced on Tuesday during the government's weekly post-cabinet briefing that plans are in the pipeline for Anderson's return in December.
The cabinet took a decision, and because of the significance of this victory, that we are going to have some celebration for Anderson when he comes home in Grenada early December. We believe that within the first 2 weeks in December sometime he will be coming home, and so we are planning a grand welcome ceremony, and we invite the nation to join us, and so more developments regarding this celebration will be forthcoming, but we want to give notice in that regard.
There are concerns that government can do more to reward the athlete. However, according to Minister Cox, while Grenada may want to go all out to recognize Peters, the rules of the National Collegiate Athletic Association prevents any country from providing tangible support to athletes.
The challenge that we have, or the issue that is before us, we cannot, the government of Grenada is not in any way positioned to provide any tangible support to Anderson at this time, because he's in school and a part of the NCAA rules and regulations. He ought not to be receiving any tangible benefits for performances in games like this. And so he is well aware of that, and the importance of him retaining his scholarship and successfully concluding next year. I think that will be very good news for us, and he's working hard towards that.
Finally, in the news, the Grenada Tourism Authority has launched a regional campaign designed to ensure that Grenada remains a recognized tourist destination. The campaign, titled Something for Everyone, also included the launch of a promotional video by the same name and plans for the Festival of Lights 2019. Something for Everyone consists of 5 focal points. Marketing Executive Shani St. Bernard spoke of the intention of the campaign.
Something for Everyone will focus on our top 5 niches in Grenada, which is romance, culinary, soft adventure, leisure, and sailing experiences. So this campaign would highlight each one of those niches, and we're going to have video and everything like that to help promote it. And of course, getting to Grenada is much easier and convenient these days through our regional airlift partners, Caribbean Airlines as well as Liat. And we're also happy to announce that the GTA is going to be bringing down a Caribbean fam consisting of Trinidadians and Barbadians later on this month to help experience something for everyone in Grenada.
Festival of the Lights is scheduled to be on December 5th and 6th. The event includes lights on the waters of the Carriacou from Bunt Point.
The concept would be on the first night, which is on the 6th, we will have a dinghy concert. In the water, we have engaged the yachts. We are hoping that they also would light up. We have had meetings with the business community here. We want them to light up. It's going to be solar lights that will last for a very long time. We feel that it is necessary as we try to promote the Carriacou. We all have heard about the Carriacou and how it's so beautiful. We want to bring life back to the Carriacou.
That was Chairman of the Grenada Tourism Authority, Brenda Hood. That story just brought the curtains down on the National Report for today, Tuesday, October 8th. Let's recap the top story. Government and the unions' wage talks stall in the face of unrealistic demands. On behalf of the entire news team here at the Government Information Service, I am Rakisha St. Louis saying thank you for joining us. Until next time.